going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sally's Speed Shop. This time, we're not actually at the shop. We're heading to QA1 here in Lakeville, Minnesota, where we're gonna pull the Javelin off of the trailer and look at what happened at the first race with this car. The rear suspension needs some modification, and who better to go to talk about suspension than QA1 Motorsports. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Lots of Javelin content coming at you. Stay tuned. Well, here we go. There is QA1's new facility. Absolutely amazing warehouse space where they make some of the coolest car components you will find. And just a bunch of good people too, so all around, it's one of my favorite places. All right, let me find a spot to park. Forgot how loud it was already. It's a little bit spicy.
A little bit.
There we go. We're inside at QA1 with air conditioning. That's the nicest part so far. So this is Dave. He is head of marketing. We got Casey, who also works and runs all the social media, working in marketing. And we got Steve Mode, right? Did I say that right? That's what his Instagram says. So he actually just had his car certed by an NHRA guy, so he knows what he's doing. And we're gonna scale the car and measure for some rear coilovers and figure out some stuff to make this thing actually launch and go in a straight line quickly. Looks good in here though.
Temperature's right too.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's the best part of the trip so far. Air-conditioned shop. All right, well, we're gonna get this thing up in the air and figure out what we're doing. So look underneath the back, put some scales under it, and learn a little bit. I am by far not an expert on setting up a drag car. This guy has a 850 car, essentially.
It's 950 at this
950
point.
right now.
850 in a month.
850 in a month.
Yeah.
So he has a car that's at the level I'm trying to get to with this. All I want to do is run 9s in its current state. And I'm pretty sure it'll do it. So you're basically taking measurements beforehand. So you have the fender and ride height.
We've got the fender height, and then we've got the length of the shock currently. So just so we know where we started. So if you say, hey, I want the car an inch higher, we get all this done, and you say, well, looks like maybe it was an inch higher. Now we know we have a starting point on both the shock length and the fender height. So all good things. And then we're gonna put our wireless intercom scales underneath it. We'll zero them out, drop the car down, check out the corner weights, and see what we've got.
That's awesome, because I have no idea what this car even weighs. It hasn't even been on a scale yet.
Should we take guesses?
Yeah, we should definitely guess. So what do you think it's gonna weigh looking at it?
Everybody should guess in the comments, but looking at it, what engine?
So it's an AMC 401, turbo 400. It's Mustang 2 style front suspension, but actually out of the junkyard. It's stamped steel crossmember and everything. It's like Ford Pinto, and then Ford 9-inch.
I won't remember this, so if you can remember it, I'm gonna go 2683.
Oh wow, you're going way lower than I think. I think it's north of 2800. I think it's probably 2850. What do you guys think it weighs?
I go 27, I'll cut it in the middle.
All right, Dave is saying 2700. What about you, Casey?
I'm gonna go
3.
I think it could very well be 3,000. So, I mean, it's somewhere in there, I'm pretty sure, and we're gonna find out today. So, we're gonna find out who was right. And they win a crisp high five at the end of this, if they're correct. But, yeah. Steve's jacking the car up. It's weird watching somebody else work on your car, and I don't know what to do because he's more of an expert on this than I am. What do you think of this thing, Dave?
I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. And the fact too that, you know, after sitting for 30 years, you're able to get it back out and complete the mission it was built for.
Yeah, with like 80% of the parts were already here.
Oh, totally.
Like, maybe even 90% of the parts.
But just the story alone and being able to conclude that, I mean, that's it right there.
Yeah, and I was just gonna, when we bought it, I was like, oh, we're just gonna build a drag and drive car. But then once we found out the story, I'm like, I have to finish their story.
Right.
I can't just close the chapter of the book there and just skip to the next part. Like, I had to finish it.
Well, you stayed true to, I think, what you'd consider to be that vision of what the car was to be, right? You didn't try to take it and make it your own.
I didn't change really anything.
Drastically anything. So, you know, I know that's tempting, and there's so many new parts that are available today that there weren't 30 years ago. So, no, I think it's super, super sweet.
It's always good to see other people's perspectives, because when you're stuck working on your own project, you get tunnel vision, you don't get to appreciate it.
Yep.
And a moment like this is actually great because I get to step back and look at it, you know, and hear other people's point of view. And I can imagine the guys who were building it or, you know, holding on to it for all those years, they never got that outside perspective.
Right. It's the forest to the trees perspective.
Yeah.
So, no, yeah, because you're sweating all the details of, you know, it could be some bracketry inside. You're sweating like that granular detail, but now you're able to step back and take it for everything it is. So.
And a lot of times we don't finish our projects because of the little details. We're like, oh, I don't know how to mount this. I don't know how to.
Just get it running.
Yeah, there's David Freiberger quote right there. Don't get it right, just get it running. And that's what we did here, which is amazing. So Steve's breaking out some scales, and we're actually going to find out what the car weighs and how it's balanced on each corner, which is cool.
Playing closest to the guess.
Or is it Price is Right rules?
Without going over.
you could actually, I haven't looked yet. Closest without going over, is that the move?
Closest without going over. What was I, 2683?
Cass said 27, I said 3. You said 20.
I said 2850.
We all lost.
Yeah?
It's gotta be north of that.
We all.
Really? No way. So this car's up on the scales right now. I would fully expect this car to weigh 3,000 pounds. And that's what I've been guessing, between 2,800 and 3,000 pounds. Holy crap. That sucker is pretty light. And very heavy on the right rear compared to the left rear. But the battery is right over the rear, that side. So that's gonna contribute some.
And we did zero out the scale, so that's accurate.
This car weighs under 2,500 pounds.
Under 2,500 pounds.
Holy crap.
And the way I set my car up is I'll get the total weight, get the ride height all set. We'll look at this, and then what I do, and there's probably a couple different ways of doing it, but I'll add the right front and the left rear and total it, and then I'll add the left front and the right rear and total it. And what I'm trying to do is trying to get my cross weights to match as close as possible. It seems to do pretty good. That and a good alignment with just a little bit of toe in makes it real stable. And
this thing drives fantastic down the track. Like, not a struggle at all.
the one finger.
I didn't try one finger, but I bet I could have. It did 128.9 in the quarter, so I mean, it was moving. I can't believe it only weighs 2,481 pounds. That is so light, it's ridiculous.
So you've got a 51, 71 up front, and you're.
So it's really not that far off balance either.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I mean, the motor is set back like 18 inches, so that might have something to do with that. Wow. I'm actually thoroughly impressed by that.
So now I know you said we wanted to do something a little bit different with the ride height in the rear, and then.
Well, I like the way it sits stance-wise, but with the current setup of the bars, it needs, you know, either the front of the lower bar raised up or the ride height increased. But also the top of the four-link brackets came up and hit the frame. And I think that's partially because soft springs, old shocks that aren't doing their job, but also there's only like this much clearance between the frame and the four-link bracket.
Yeah, and we noticed also that lower shock mount is that single shear.
Yeah,
bolt,
instead of being double shear.
Not the way we want to go. So I think we're going to get some of our pro rear brackets, we call them, and we'll kind of size those up. Those will need to be welded to the axle.
Yeah.
We'll kind of size it up, figure out what shock length we're going to need. We'll raise it up to the ride height you think you're going to want, and then you'll have everything you need to put it together.
Well, cool. I'm excited to get an expert instead of myself trying to figure it out by reading stuff on the internet, and the forums just confuse the crap out of you.
Expert's such a strong word. I mean, maybe like professional.
Yeah, I mean, those are both strong words. But he works at a suspension company. I work in my backyard. There's a little bit of a difference there. But that is amazing. I didn't expect that. Like, it's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
God, that's crazy.
Well,
it's a light car.
You got anything else you can shed out of there?
I mean, there's plenty of stuff that can come out of there still or be lighter. But for now, I'm okay with that. Sweet. That's a light car.
Let's get
so Dave's breaking out some shocks.
Just a couple we might mock up.
Yeah.
But we got a 5 and a 7-inch. So we're gonna grab some brackets so we can kind of mock up where it would be on the axle, and then make sure it's about center for ride height and call it good.
And all this stuff you make right here in-house.
That's right, on the other side of that.
Yeah, the other side of that wall. They're making all of these parts right here in America. And then, you know, they'll give you a lifetime warranty on it too.
That's right.
Which is, I don't know if anybody else is doing that. Shock.
No, you see some extended warranties, but this is a true lifetime warranty. So if you ever have an issue with it, call us up. We got you taken care of.
Plus, they're just wonderful people. I mean, look, they're opening up the place to an idiot like me to come in and play with my race car.
That's right.
So, yeah, we're all about it. All right, so Steve just went and grabbed a set of brackets that work on the rear end that you weld on, correctly?
Yeah, this is called our Pro Rear Kit, or it's the universal shock mounting kit from our Pro Rear Kit. So MT100K is for a 3-inch axle tube. So what we'll have in the box here, so we'll have our base brackets, and so that'll weld to the axle tube, and then we'll have our L brackets that will.
They share bolt holes there, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very
You can move it up
adjustable.
and down a ton, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of times like a 4-lane car or ladder bar car is going to use a 5-inch stroke shock. The length is going to be about 14 to 15 inches, just about universally. So especially with brackets that adjust like this, I mean, you can really set it up the way you want.
That's awesome. I knew I needed something like this. I just haven't looked at what I was going to order yet, and that's pretty much spot on, like what I would be looking at.
So we've got this axle set up where you want it ride height wise. What we're going to do is we'll mock these up on the axle. We're not going to weld them on right now, but we'll kind of mock this up and figure out what shock length you're going to need. Probably going to be that 5-inch stroke, but the nice thing about these is your current spring is very close to the axle tube.
Way close.
So I think as you rotate this on the axle, you're going to be able to kick the bottom of that shock out a little bit and just give you more clearance.
Nice.
Easy peasy.
I like it. The more adjustment on a race car, the better. And right now, everything on the car is kind of maxed out on adjustment, and you can't adjust where the shock mounts, which is not good. So we're gonna definitely improve upon that.
Side to this kit, I mean, you also get your top tabs to mount the upper shock mount, like on a tube.
Oh, that's good, because did you see the mounts in there? They're sketchy.
I didn't really look at them too
They're like 1x1 tubing that's like been cut out.
But also, probably my favorite part of this mount kit, you can drop it down real low so that you can see those sick shocks.
Oh yeah, hanging out from under the back of the car.
Yeah. We actually have customers that like they're not concerned that it works already. They want the shock down low so they can see it. Yeah, whatever you want, you know, we'll do it.
I get it. The QA1 coilovers are beautiful. You do want to show them off. The main reason the shocks are almost touching the axle is where this bar is welded.
Yeah.
So I'll probably end up cutting it out and moving it back.
I mean, just a quick mock up there. We're at about 14 inches there. So if we give you a shock, 5-inch stroke shock that's happy at 14 to 15 at ride height, well, you can adjust these L brackets up or down. As long as you've got 2 bolts with 1 hole separated, you can drop this down real far. And then depending on your rotation here, you can kind of kick the bottom of the shock out if you need to. But definitely going to be preferred over your whole life riding on this bolt.
Yeah, 1 bolt.
To live dangerously, Jacob.
It was the first time out. I wasn't going, I mean, I went crazier than I anticipated, but I wasn't doing too crazy.
No, I like
It's only 130 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, for its age, it looks like it's in really good shape.
Yeah, and like the cage works good. Like,
Did you test it?
I found the guy who built it, and he said I used the correct stuff. It should still pass. So it's pretty amazing to see an old cage welded 40 years ago that doesn't look like garbage.
Yeah.
But I won't know till an NHRA inspector shows up and puts his little thing on there that tells you.
Who left just as you were pulling in.
Yeah, he could have told me a lot of stuff I would have needed to know.
Yeah.
But that's okay. There's plenty of other ones around. So this is the shocks Dave brought over. So this one's the 5-inch. This one was the 7-inch stroke.
Yeah.
So you were saying we'll probably end up with the 5-inch stroke.
Yeah, 5-inch stroke is just, I mean, especially with the adjustability on those brackets. This shock's going to be happiest at 14 to 15 inches. It's got a fully extended of 16 and 7/8. Compressed is like 12 or something there. 11 and something. But these are just mock-up shocks. I can tell by the sticker it's the old logo, and so we'll get you some new stuff.
And then these are just single adjustable, but for a drag car, you generally want double adjustable.
Yeah.
For a basic street car, single adjustable is fine.
Yeah, I mean this one it's gonna tighten or soften both directions, so you kind of find
compression
your
and
happy
rebound changes
medium.
together.
I've seen people go real fast on singles and it just works, like the car just works. But anytime you can have more control over the motions of the car, it's just going to be that much better.
And right now we have no control. It's
Nice.
terrifying.
Nice.
It launches and it does all kinds of sketchy things and tries to kill you, but you know, at least goes straight.
No, yeah, that's important. We'll get it fixed up.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Steve.
No problem.
So have you seen a car with an actual Mustang 2 swapped into it?
I've seen a lot of Mustang 2s, but a legit 74 to 78
Yeah.
factory.
Not aftermarket Mustang 2 like you see on a lot of hot rods. This is factory Mustang 2 front
This
suspension.
is a unicorn.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know you have this. You have a unicorn.
Oh, it's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, this is almost a museum piece because it's like this is what the car would have looked like 40 years ago.
Right.
Like it hasn't changed.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, the ingenuity though. If you think way back when about all the guys that swapped these into their cars and all the aftermarket that came from it, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, I probably can put a tubular upper on it and figure out something for the lower because the aftermarket ones, they have like a similar control arm to the top on the bottom. But I don't know. I might end up putting struts on it at some point.
Yeah.
But it drives really good. It goes down the track dead straight. And we do have your double adjustable shocks in there. you
Yeah,
talked about.
in there, yeah.
So factory suspension from a Ford Pinto with a double adjustable shock from QA1. So we can at least adjust the front, but the rear has just been, you know, how it is. So not ideal. Did you get in it yet?
No, not yet. I'll wait for it to come back down.
You got to experience it. It's not a Power Tour car, as Casey was just asking. Are you gonna take it on Power Tour? Yeah, no way. As Dave folds himself up inside of here.
No, this is not a power tour car.
Very tall. You are a tall man.
Yeah, the firewall's been moved back a
It'll be
lot.
fun for a minute,
Yeah.
and then you're like, what did I just do to myself?
Like take it on a
2
cruise.
minutes. It'll be fun for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick week and drag week and all that are gonna be a blast.
A couple rips, but 200 miles a day. Ooh. Yeah.
So I was here showing Casey and Dave the car and just letting them see everything to do with it. And all of a sudden, Steve shows up with some shocks.
I found some.
He just like keeps finding parts and bringing them over here.
Christmas Day test. You got
Man,
your stickers, you got your instructions, all your collars, double adjustables.
that's a huge improvement over what's on there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 40-year-old Coney coilovers that probably don't even like have dampening anymore. They're probably just like the seals have gone bad or something. But no, those are super nice.
I love the Christmas Day test. You just open up and you go, oh, thanks, Santa.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Also, lifetime warranty.
It's a
on the
big deal.
shocks. So as long as you're not using these as a golf club or a doorstop, I mean, you have any issues with them, send them back and we fix them up. But I mean, honestly, this shock has a piston and oil in it. It's very low maintenance, so we don't have any issues outside of customers trying to just drop it like it's hot.
Oh yeah, I've been really mean to the ones on the El Camino for a lot of years, probably 40,000 miles or something, with engines in the back on your coilover kit, like 2 engines at once at one point. They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't. I can assure you they work. and they don't break. People look at me like I'm crazy right now with engines in the back of my car, and I'm like, it's a truck. It's just on coilovers. Yeah, exactly.
I still don't believe that.
I got that so many times. People are like, you faked finding that engine on the side of the road. And I'm like, who would go through the effort?
Right?
Like, and to do it, an engine with a spun bearing that was junk on the inside would make even less sense. I would have dropped a nice engine on the side of the road. But yeah, so this is basically what's going to fix us up. So we have the Pro, you said like
MT100K, that's for the 3-inch axle.
Okay.
MT102K is going to be like a 3 1/4 axle.
Okay.
So options for everybody. And then the shocks, set them up at 14 to 15 inch that ride height. Call me for them settings.
Yeah, I am gonna need some help on, I don't know enough about dialing in a drag car, so.
Well, I mean, the instructions in the box have a range of settings depending on what you're doing with it. So, but that's a range, so every car is gonna be a little bit different, but you call me for them secret sauce settings.
All the guys have their secret sauce, and they won't share it with just anybody, so I feel very honored right now that he's offering to share the
You know what
the
we
advice.
also gotta get is some springs. I didn't.
Oh yeah, those are kind of important.
Yeah, and so as a drag racer, I'm always thinking, right? So QA1, we came out with like 2 years ago, black springs. So our springs were always silver, and they're like, okay, we got silver springs, and so we decided, oh, let's make them in black. It makes the shock look cooler and all this stuff. So take the same spring, 12-inch, 200, whatever the case is, get one in silver, one in black. Now people look under the car and they think you know something that they don't
They
know.
think it's some secret
I mean,
sauce.
that's drag racing right there.
Getting in somebody's head right there. But look, you just let your secret out to the internet, so it's okay. I'll just bleep all that out.
I'll spray paint one of them like plated gold.
Yeah, one's gonna be purple next time you look under there. You'll be like, what's up with the purple spring? But yeah, I don't know what spring to put on a drag car either. Like,
Well, we have the weights.
we have the weights.
So we're gonna want about 30 to 35% of the spring's free length taken up by just the weight of the car.
Okay.
This is gonna use a 12-inch spring on that 5-inch stroke shock. So we take your rear weight, which I forget what the numbers were.
I have a picture of it.
We're gonna take about 300 pounds out for your axle, wheels, tires, brakes, split it in half, and then basically we'll be left with a corner weight. And depending on, we'll take that and we'll divide that corner's weight by 3.6.
Okay.
Which is 30% of that 12-inch spring, and it's gonna spit the spring right at you.
Huh. So there's math involved.
Yeah,
They're
math.
smarter than I am.
Math, but basically, yeah. And the way you can double check that is you take your 12-inch spring, set this car down on it, and you're hoping to see the spring itself at about 8.4 inches, and now you know you've done all the math right and everything's good. And
Man.
time to let her buck.
I just learned a lot. I wouldn't have learned all this on my own, so I'm really glad I came here.
But this car, we'll probably be looking at like a 130, maybe a 150.
Okay.
And the reason for the soft spring on that solid axle car is, you know, just the function of the pinion gear trying to climb, it's gonna separate in the back. When you're a little kid and you put your foot on the brake in your mom's car and you stepped on the gas, feel that back end rise up. That's the same function that we're gonna have in this car. And so
That's called anti-squat, right?
Yeah.
So.
And so we're gonna use the soft spring, the stored energy in that smash down spring, to actually
cause separation.
throw the axle and the wheels and tires down into the track. If we need to slow it down, that's where our rebound comes into play. Think about this though. So once it separates and it's smashed those tires down into the track, those tires get all wadded up, and they do not like that. They want to be round. And so they're gonna want to jump back up into the fender. We use the firm compression there to hold them down to the track.
Wow.
Yep. We have a whole video.
That's the best explanation I've heard, because you read stuff on the internet and it just confuses you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, because initially you'll see your rim, its first movement will be straight down. But if you see any movement back up, you're allowing that wheel and tire to go up into the fender, away from the track.
And that's where I have a slow motion video of this thing where it does just that at the track.
Yeah.
And I was like, something's obviously going on in there.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you can hit the tire too hard and it bogs the engine or something. So you can use those compression rebounds to figure out the rebound is how hard we hit the track. And then the compression is how much we're holding it down to the track. The soft spring in the front has that energy in it. As soon as you make the hit, it's gonna wanna come up. We use a soft rebound to let it do that. But obviously we don't want to come slamming back down, so we'll firm up the compression and yeah, you transfer that weight to the back. The back's trying to smash the whole axle and tires down into the track, and then I don't know. What do you run? Like a sub 1 second 60 foot in this thing later?
I don't know about that. I mean, it should definitely run a low 1 something, like 1.2, 1.1 maybe. It's running 1.5s and 1.6s right now. So
yeah. I mean, there's other things involved with the launch RPM and all that good stuff, but
I've never been in a car that's done a 1.2 60 foot. It's always been 1.4 and north for me.
When I did my licensing, I think Frank Hawley's car is 129, and it's just
yeah, it's intense. I'm excited to feel it because I knew something was going on. It would launch so hard, and then immediately would, you know, something that would bounce, it would knock the tire off, and then it would hook right back up. But I thought I was accidentally lifting my foot off the gas. That's how aggressively it slowed down. Having an expert in your corner makes your life a lot easier.
I thought I was a professional.
Professional, yeah, that's right. He's a professional expert.
Expert's such a strong word.
I think it applies based on listening to you. So.
It'll be fine.
No, this is awesome.
No problem.
Much appreciated.
We gotta get some springs.
Yeah,
too.
that's important.
I'll go get some of those.
You're gonna go find something else?
I think they're in the building somewhere.
All right, well, thank you, Steve.
No problem.
So, huge shout out to the fine folks over here at QA1. Let me not only use their facility to inspect my car after racing, because I didn't know what it looked like underneath. That's the first time really taking some time to look under it. But Dave and Casey and Steve, they opened up the place and hooked us up with brackets for the rear so we can relocate the coilovers. We've got double adjustable coilovers along with a 130-pound spring in those boxes right there. So I think we're gonna be hooked up. And my favorite part is red, white, and blue stickers for a red, white, and blue car, because that's a requirement. Look, the American flag mixed with the QA1 logo, you gotta love that.
Now the next requirement, when you come here and visit, you have to sign the driveway.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Steve was just airing up my tires to make sure that they were good to go, and I have a little bit of water in the back of the truck, along with even some Dawn dish soap if we want to get real froggy with it. And I have to do a burnout. I'm not going to do a launch because I feel like I'm going to break the rear suspension, but I will do a burnout. And I haven't actually gotten good smoke out of these tires yet because I haven't ever done big tire burnouts, and I realized you have to do a long burnout to get proper smoke out of these. So I'm not gonna do a crazy one because I don't want to have to buy new slicks after this, but I'll do a burnout. So hopefully the line lock will hold it. It won't just go, you know, doing whatever it wants to do. But we're gonna find out. So we're about to fire this thing up, take it out, and find a place in Mexico to do a burnout. Not on this place's property for sure. We would never.
Oh no, of course not.
No, that would be frowned upon in this establishment. No, they love burnouts here. So yeah, there's burnout marks everywhere. I got Nate along for the ride in a seat that's not bolted in, and he's gonna hold the camera for a minute while we drive over to where things are happening. So I'm gonna fire the car up. Oh, it's gotta be a neutral. It tried to walk on me. I wanted to do a longer one.
Yeah, it cleaned the road. That's why we used the Dawn dish soap.
Yeah.
It'll look good.
Is that not enough smoke?
Well, it didn't really start smoking until you got out of the water, but
Oh, gotcha. I'm
I
surprised.
think we've done pretty well for ourselves.
It's acceptable.
Yeah, good job.
And I have my slicks still that I can use later at the drag strip instead of burning them down to nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they're clean now.
Yeah. There was a lot of gravel
Power
on
of Dawn.
Dude. It's a good Dawn advertisement. Was that good, Dave?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
Those are the widest burnout marks you've got here so far, probably. Those are wide. There's 15-inch slicks.
Yeah, Rob might have it.
Okay, he's got big tires on his truck. You're right.
Not the same, probably.
Yeah. Well, that was fun. It does sound rowdy.
Half of a bottle for your next run, too.
Hey, perfect. Now I gotta go do it at somebody else's driveway, probably. Oh, that was fantastic. You gotta love high compression. Oh,
Yeah, high compression,
open
cams,
headers.
turbos.
Yeah. Well, high compression and turbos don't get along a lot. Maybe in 2JZ world.
Be fine.
Nice. It tried to walk away pretty quick. I mean, skinny front tires. But it did it. So then Steve, who was helping out with the Javelin, this is his car. One of the baddest FRSs you'll ever see. 9-second street car, soon to be an 8-second street car. Just had the NHRA. He just had the NHRA inspector approve his cage to be able to go run an 8, right? 8. That's awesome, man. Thing is killer. 2JZ with a CD009 and an 8.8 independent rear suspension.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing. And of course, QA1 suspension.
QA1 drive shaft
Oh, you got a carbon fiber drive shaft?
and double adjustable shocks.
You fancy. Oh, that's freaking awesome. What a cool car. Running on E85 too?
E85?
Oh, it smells amazing. So cool. Yep. The people at QA1 have cool cars. Yeah, it's pretty fast.
I mean, I was doing burnouts too.
Oh yeah, the whole time, just blowing the tires off.
But you run through 4th and then you set over to 6th. And
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it just burrs right along like nothing's going on. Yeah, so this is the guy that just helped set up the suspension on my car. So I think he looks mildly trustworthy right now. Professional, right?
No, I mean, it's just a street car.
It's just a street car. Oh man, yeah, it flies. Anyway, that's what it's like to come visit QA1. You get to measure your car, figure out its weight, and then they give you a bunch of parts and make you do a burnout.
I was just telling Rob, we could have gone into the roofing industry or something.
Yeah, that would have been way more boring.
That's kind of what we do for work every day. It's pretty good.
Doesn't suck. So anyway, that's a little dive into QA1 as well as this killer race car here and the little issues we had at the track that we're going to resolve with some new parts from this fine company here out of Lakeville, Minnesota. If you ever need suspension parts for your car, you need to go check out QA1 because they build some killer stuff right here in America and they're just great people. So thanks for watching. Please remember to hit that like button. Obviously, please subscribe if you want to see more Javelin stuff. Lots of cool stuff happening. And let me know in the comments what you liked, what you didn't like, and I'll see you guys on the next one.